Yes, people. Um, Today we're gonna be touching on how I raised 200 grand to basically buy and develop houses, and how you can do the same as well. And you won't need a massive following. Number one, number two, you won't need to be like one of those private equity guys or have a mad trust fund or anything. This is basically something that I used last year, and it's applicable to absolutely anyone and everyone. So just lock in, right? This isn't gonna be an entertaining video. I'm not gonna try to like amuse you guys. It's just gonna be straight value. So if you're ready for it, put your seatbelt on and stay in for the ride. If not, check out another video. But what I'm gonna start with, I'm gonna reference notes on my computer as well, just to make it more streamlined for you, and I don't just go off on a tangent as I can do when I'm explaining certain things. So first things first, I'm gonna touch on the mechanisms that underpin raising money, like how to actually do it, right? The things that I had to learn, the almost strategy I implemented, and why you don't need a massive following to do so. So how you can do it too. Now, first things first, the thing to understand is what underpins any type of investment is someone ultimately knowing you, liking you, and trusting you. Which is why they often say that your first investors are going to be people that you already know. Why? Because these are the people that likely already know you, like you, and trust you, assuming like you're not some crazy person or sociopath or something. So that's number one. Number two, I would say, even before I go to number two, what I would say in terms of how I did it was, this is actually very, very important as well. I can't believe I was about to skip over this. It's ultimately your belief system, right? Because what we believe in or what we think is possible ends up becoming true, right? I think it's where your attention goes, energy flows. Where your, yeah, something along those lines, right? It's ultimately what that saying to me means is what you focus on expands. So if you focus on something not working or something not being possible, that's going to expand and ultimately become true, right? So for a long time, I just thought raising money just wasn't possible. And that was what forced me to start out my property journey using my own money. But that soon quickly ran out. And we're always going to be limited to the amount of money that we have available. And if we're always going to try to use our own money, you can understand how that will severely limit our ability to grow. It's the same reason why when you look at startup companies, people like Jeff Bezos, Amazon, Elon Musk, whoever you're looking at, the reason why they raise money is so that they can scale faster. Now, if you don't want to grow at a faster rate, or you're fine just doing things in like a slow traditional way, yeah, cool, you can use your own money. But just understand that you'll always be capped, and things will be a lot more long-winded. So that's number one. The reason why I brought that example up is because all of those people are living proof of this concept being real and true. And you might think that, oh yeah, these guys, they're billionaires, etc. They've got like elaborate business plans, blah blah blah. But what I can tell you from experience is my most serious investors, those that actually pulled the trigger and invested, never actually asked for any elaborate business plan or spreadsheets breaking down these numbers that ultimately don't mean a damn thing, right? Because we've seen time and time again that, with like Ponzi schemes and stuff like that, people can pull the wool over your eyes with a bunch of numbers that look nice on paper, but ultimately it can mean a bunch of crap, right? So something that you need to get into your minds is that people invest in people. And the more serious investors understand this. Now, yeah, cool, they might ask to see, like, okay, yeah, show me a deal pack, whatever it might be. That's yeah, but on the front end, they're ultimately buying into you as a person, hence the components of them know, liking, and trusting you. And I say that to say this: I focused on getting people to know, like, and trust me, right? There's a framework, it's like the triple P: people, places, positioning. How you position yourself is critical when it comes to raising money, and that is what I found out fast, because the people that I would speak to, right, that would ask me for like these, elaborate numbers, breakdowns, X, Y, and Z, they were the ones that just didn't end up investing in absolutely anything. And those that were just saying, okay, like, what does the deal look like? And they just took what I was saying and they knew me, they knew my character, they're the ones that ended up investing. And you're obviously on the back end, you'd have to make things more formal, contracts, etc. Like, so it's legally binding, yes, but there isn't as much of a need for all of like the formalities of spreadsheets and the stuff that people obsess over and think actually matters, because it doesn't really in the grand scheme of things. And you come to find that when you start having conversations with your own investors. So that's number one. Now, the point that I was trying to make before I entered that was my mind completely went blank and I forgot what point I was even trying to make with what I had brought up. But no, like, and trust at the top, right? That's what underpins any type of investment. The belief system is what you need to fix before you even try to tap into any of it. That's what I was trying to say. So, the most important part, in my opinion, right? This was true for myself when I was trying to raise the money, was the belief system. Because I don't have the scientific explanation to it or anything, but what I've seen from my own experience, right, is when you truly don't believe something deep down, you'll never really be able to, number one, commit to making it happen, and you almost always create your own roadblocks and obstacles. So I say that to say this: before I truly believed that I could raise money, right? That I just thought it was like, a scam, or you need to be some elaborate company with this big concrete business plan, etc. All of the potential reasons why you wouldn't do something, right? It's almost like any investor conversation I would have, that's what I was that's almost like the energy that I was giving out there. Like, this isn't even possible. Like, why am I even speaking to this person or whatever? So I never ended up closing anyone to invest because I just ultimately didn't believe in it myself. But when I was when I started looking and studying other people that had done it, and looking at the methods they had used, how they went about it, etc., it started to almost eradicate that limiting belief that I had, basically, right? And then I started to think, fucking, if this guy can do it, what's stopping me from being able to do it? And that's almost the mentality that you need to have. It's understanding that if this person here can do it, use me as an example, right? If I can do it, there's no reason in hell you can't. So that's number one. Number two is stop looking at it like you're asking people for money, because that's something that can, well, it's what stopped me from wanting to reach out to people for an opportunity to invest in projects, because I just saw it as begging, right? So that's number two. Now, once you've done whatever you need to do to address any limiting beliefs that you may have, if you have them, then the next part is obviously building on the know, like, and trust. Now, people around you, like I previously said, they are the ones that are already gonna know, like, and trust you. But in my case, I had started posting content, and with the content I was posting, I was just documenting what I was doing, demonstrating my knowledge, demonstrating my competence, basically, that my ability to deliver results, right? Which ties in on the trust. Me posting in general, just being seen, right, on platforms tackles them knowing. Remember, know, like, and trust. So just posting is getting people to know you. Demonstrating your competence and, let's say, your ability to deliver something. Let's say if I'm showing them a project that I've done, or I'm able to calculate something, just demonstrating their ability to be able to trust me, right? Posting content like that solves that problem. So you've got no, you've got the trust, and now the like. The like just comes from your personality. You're not gonna get everybody to like you, and that's fine. You don't need everyone to. You just need a handful of people, right? To be honest, you only really need one person to like proper lock in and support you. If you want to go deeper into, I guess, principles of being able to like win over people, influence them, get them to like you, How to Win Friends and Influence People is a fantastic book. But very simply, on a surface level, your how you come across two people. This is assuming we're in the realm of content, not in person. How you just carry yourself, it will attract the people it attracts naturally, and it will repel the people who don't either agree with you or like the way you are. And it's part of the reason why I didn't try to become someone I'm not, because authenticity is contagious and people can see through fakeness, right? So just be yourself and it will attract the right people. Show up consistently, post consistently, basically. With the trust element, is demonstrating your competence in whatever field you're in. In this case, it's property. So me showing what I'm learning, showing what I'm doing in the property world, it helped to add to that. And then ultimately, just being yourself, that builds on the like. So over time, and this is why consistency is key, because if you just post something once and you disappear, you're not present enough to build enough rapport with people, social media wise, right? To be able to get them to trust you and ultimately invest in you. So the more present you are, the more you post, the more you're able to stay present in people's minds, and the more people see you, right? The more time they spend with you watching your stuff, the more they feel like they actually know you and can trust you. So that's a key there in itself. And that's what I had done. So I think I couldn't tell you how long I was posting for. It was probably about, I'd say about a year, maybe, or maybe even just less. So 2024 is when I raised my first bit of actual investor funds. I'd started posting in 2023. Yeah, so it was about a year and a bit. Now, that's the first thing. The second thing that I was gonna touch on was the people, places, and positioning. That's it. So with people, places, and position, all it really means is the right people, right? To get investment into whatever you're doing, you need to either speak to the right people or be seen by the right people. And you might think that an investor needs to be like a elderly person that's flipping, I don't know, that's just got millions just sitting around. And you'd be surprised. You're more likely to get money from either people like similar to yourself because they're able to resonate more with you, or people you already know, so your existing network, number two. Number three, I would even venture to say just normal everyday people, right? Like this big, I guess, profile that we have in our brains of who an investor would be, a lot of the times it's a myth, and it's based on what we may see from like movies and TV shows, and the real world is very, very different. So that's number one. What you can do, what I've done as well, is There's an exercise where you can almost create your own ideal investor. And by doing that, creating your own ideal investor, I'm talking about on a seriously granular level, from their fears to their hopes, their desires, their dreams, their pain points, what they do for work, where they congregate, just going through that entire process. What you can do is, especially if you're utilizing social media, this is the power of social media. You're essentially able to curate your content to speak to that person that you want to attract, right? That ideal investor that you've built out in your mind and on paper. And the more you understand the profile that you're trying to reach, the better you can curate your content to speak to that person. And I had done that briefly and it worked, right? Because I think it was maybe around September, October last year when I had put out like a challenge where I was trying to raise the 200K in a week. A lot of the people that had reached out to me were the ideal investor that I had created in my mind. And the easiest way to do that or create that almost magnetism is just making content that appeals to their pain points, right? Because when you actually take a step back and look at what we're trying to achieve from in life is solving pain, solving problems. Whatever we buy, I bought this to solve a problem. I bought body cream so that my skin wouldn't be dry, you know? So it sounds silly, but the more you can appeal to people's pains, right, and offer them the solution, the better you'll be at raising the money. And once you understand that as well, you'll absolutely be flying. So that is the next part. So with people, places basically just means what places do I need to be in to find the people that I'm looking to either attract or speak to, in this case, raise money from. Now, when you're using social media, that's the place, that's the platform that you will be using. And it's important to understand the whole pain point stuff that I just explained so that you can, the last P, position, right? Position yourself as somebody who has the solution to their problem. In this context, they might just have a bunch of money just sitting there in savings and it's ultimately getting eaten away by inflation, but they don't know what to do with it. You can position yourself as the solution to that problem. Perfect storm. And that's what I had done with a couple of my investors. The second thing is a lot of people don't have the know how to be able to invest in, property, this, that, or the third. So by you demonstrating through the content that you post, your ability to either deliver or your understanding and your competence of certain concepts, then you can position yourself, again, remember the last P, you're positioning yourself ultimately as someone that can, again, problem solution, right? Provide a solution to their problem. A lot of this is very simple. When you break it down into simple terms, it's very easy to understand, but we try to overcomplicate things because we think that things need to be very complex and elaborate, and I promise you it doesn't. So always remember people, places, position, and number one. Number two, know, like, and trust. Right? Those are the three different things. Now, the last thing when it comes to it is volume. Now, what I mean by that is you always have to do enough volume to be able to get a certain result or outcome, right? And that's by making sure that you're either posting enough content, you're getting enough inbound, or you're firing enough messages. In my case, because I had to raise money fast, what I did, I was reaching out to people at the same time I was posting content. So I was getting inbound traffic. So people messaging me about opportunities as well as outbound. So me messaging, me being first, reaching out to other people. Now, depending on your personality type, it can feel daunting. If you're naturally an introvert by nature, then the concept of like reaching out to people, maybe phoning people to try and raise money or like ask for money, etc., it can seem daunting. If that was the case for me, because I'm an introvert by nature, but once you push past that, right? Like you understand there's a goal that you're trying to reach, right? And this is one of the actions that you need to take to get there, then you'll do it. But if not, you can always make it easier by, like I said, posting the content and getting the inbound traffic. But when it comes to the volume stuff I was mentioning, you just need to make sure that you're speaking to enough people, right, to be able to actually convert or actually close an investor. Because if you're only speaking to like one or two in 2 months, then the likelihood of you being able to raise the money is naturally going to decrease. But if you're speaking to people every single day, you're having one investor conversation every single day, then you're gonna inevitably get there, right? Because the volume is there, you're doing enough, right? You're taking the necessary actions to get to the outcome of raising the investment in the appropriate volume. That's a key, very 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 important. So limiting beliefs first, address that, deal with that first. I promise you that underpins anything else, because it bleeds into how you behave and how you speak to others. So adjust the beliefs, understanding the framework of people needing to know, like, and trust you. There isn't as much merit in pitch decks and all of this jazz that people think that there is. I promise you that there isn't. If you understand how almost like psychology works, if you understand that and you understand that people just operate in problems and solutions, you can give a solution to a problem that a potential investor is facing, then you'll be much better off. People buy into people, remember that. Remember the 3 P's as well: people, places, positioning, right? The right people that you're trying to find, the places, where do you find these people, and how can you position yourself almost in like a position of authority, right? To make yourself come across as more trustworthy or credible. And then content that obviously wraps around all of that. And then volume, making sure that you're doing enough, you're speaking to enough people, you're having enough investor conversations. So that is how I did it. I literally, I was posting content at one point in time. I was posting 2 pieces of content a day, right? And then I lowered it down to one a day, and then I settled on around 4 to 5 per week, right? So I was posting a bunch of content. I was reaching out. I don't know. I think it might have even been more than one a day. I ventured to at least have one investor conversation per day, right? So naturally, you've got to like build rapport a bit first, almost like set them, find out their reasons for wanting to invest, ultimately what it is that they want to achieve, because everything is always driven by some type of dream or desire, and it's finding out what that is, what they're looking for as well, like what would make a good investment for them. Naturally, you need to always find out how much they have available to them as well, because that's very important, and how soon they're willing to move forward on something. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can give to you guys about this without making this video overly long. Yeah. Solution, problem, solutions, volume, measure things. It's very important as well to make sure that you track your inputs to get to the output, because oftentimes when we don't attain a certain goal or something that we're looking to achieve, it's almost always because of a lack of inputs. And it's like with setting any type of goal, right? Let's say 6 months from now, if you haven't achieved the goal and you haven't tracked what you've been doing, you're not going to know why you haven't achieved that goal. But if you've tracked what you've been doing, a lot of the times you'll find out that the times you think that you're doing things that move the needle forward, that get you closer to the goal, it means nothing. So measure things, measure your inputs, track it, and yeah, post your content. If you don't want to go down the post and content route, or if you are an introvert, you don't like speaking to people, then what can be easier is leveraging your existing network. Now, it's a bit of a catch-22 because you're going to need to bite the bullet and obviously reach out to people, right? But there's a way that you can do it in which it doesn't seem as daunting. And that's by how I did it was just almost having conversations, just normal conversations with people, right? Having a conversation, just speaking about anything, and then weaving the concept of what you do or what you're working on into the conversation. And a lot of the times, if the person that you're speaking to is in the market for investing or they're potentially interested, then they will tell you. And that almost relieves the pressure of feeling like you have to go like hell bent and try to sell to them and this type of stuff. So a tactic that I had used at the start, I remember when I was just calling people, was I would call someone, let's say, I don't know, my brother, for example. If I were to call my brother, I would just think of something that I like about my brother, or something that I respect him for. Let's just say he's good with numbers. I'll just call him. I'll be like, yo, bro, I wanted to get your opinion on this deal because like I respect how you're very like analytical, you're good with numbers, blah blah blah. Like, are you good to have a quick look at this deal that I'm looking at? Then we'll be like, yeah, yeah. Then just run through the deal. Then ask him like, does that deal make sense? Does it sound like a good deal? After telling him like the numbers of the deal or whatever, then he could tell me like, oh yeah, yeah, that deal's yeah sick still. And then what I said, right? This was I was reaching out to a bunch of people. I would just say, okay, cool. Would you know anyone that's willing to, partner up or invest in a deal like this? Now, naturally, if they genuinely like the deal that much, the numbers seem sick to them, then they'll be like flipping out. Yeah, like me, I want to jump in and invest in this deal. So that is what ended up happening, and that's how I closed one of my first ever investors. So it's just there's different ways. There's many ways to skin a cat, right? It's just finding the way that suits you and just doing it. Just get to skinning. Obviously, don't actually skin a cat. This is not nice, but um, that is how I did it. That's how I raised the money. That's how you can go about raising it. There's a bunch of different things that you can use in what I've explained, right? Just make sure that you are taking down notes because I know this video is long as hell, and I could even go deeper as well into this, but this video I think is already like 30 minutes or so. So I'll leave it there. Any comments or anything that you want me to elaborate on, let me know down below, or anything else that you want me to speak about, any things that you like, potential pains, etc. Just anything that you want me to cover, let me know down below. I hope you got value from this and see you in the next video.